So I got this bucket to measure out the area that I would want each of the cauliflowers to have. And look at this fucking magic I found inside the bucket. Oh my god, is that a ladybug? Oh, this is why I come out here. So we won't crush this. Get out of here, dude. We won't crush this ladybug because he is our friend. And there is a species. There is a species of, come on, dude. Get out of here. There's a species of Japanese beetle that looks kind of similar to them. But this is definitely a little ladybug. So this is how you know it, like, spring's gonna happen. This dude is, hurry up, hurry up. Hurry up, get out. Come on, we're filming a video. Get out of the bucket. Do it, dude. Come on, yeah. Oh no! Oh Jesus. There you go. Go on, do it. Get out of here now. Go on. Go on. There you go. Oh no. Oh my god, this guy's an asshole. Okay, so. Alright. You're gonna love it. I know when you watch these videos, it really looks like there's nothing to look at, but you have yet to see the magic of seeing a yard that looks like this. And then when I do a garden tour in July, and it's just incredible looking. It's going to be really fun to just go from this video to that July video when everything's in full bloom. You can see this bed that I was kind of talking about in the garden tour, or maybe I didn't edit talking about this bed in the back here into the video and we're just talking about it for the first time. I don't know. I haven't started editing it yet. So I have this structure back here and I attempted to make a cold frame. This guy right here. It was my first time trying to make one. A strong wind came and I kind of knew that was gonna happen, but you gotta experiment just to see what will work for you or what will work for your budget and your yard. The best part about it is okay to change your mind about a structure or something you installed. Trial and error and mistakes are just part of the game. A big thing that I noticed that holds people back from attempting to even get into gardening is the fear of error or failure. And welcome to life. Like, I am just, if you were to see on paper my failures compared to my successes, you would realize pretty soon that I'm a big loser. But I'd rather just show you all of my successes and avoid this giant list of failure. But welcome to life. Like, what's that thing that it's like Babe Ruth and his batting average? So don't be so hard on yourself if something dies or something gets knocked over or just doesn't. It's fine. It's okay. So we're just gonna film taking down this structure and I'm gonna rearrange it, and then we're gonna be planting some of my cold weather crops in the bed, and that's so exciting. This is my favorite thing. This is my favorite time of year. This is my favorite thing to do outside of drawing and tattooing. You know what? I'm using my indoor voice outdoors because I am so weirded out by my neighbors hearing me do this, and they don't give a shit what I'm doing back here, but it feels weird. Do you know what I mean? I hope you can hear this audio. At the very least, I'm glad it's not windy today. So I'm going to break down this bed, and then we're going to reset it up to actually put some baby plants in it. So I built this frame, but I actually think I'm going to take it down because we had a pretty strong windstorm and it lifted the whole thing up. I'm going to lower it. I attempted to make a cold frame where the back is taller than the front, and then the roof is at a diagonal. And then I had a tarp over it, but after we got a high windstorm, I've decided to take it down a little bit. And I'm pretty sure it's early April, so I should be able to get away with just a low cover. And I'm just going to be planting like the cauliflower in here and some other cold weather vegetables. But the yard is looking hobo-tastic right now. Dog's eating bunny poop probably. Hey, don't eat that. So yeah, it's pretty hurting right now. But wait till you see it in June. It's gonna be awesome. So it was super easy to take down. It was a huge pain in the ass to set it up and figure out how I was going to do it. But no matter what you're doing, if we're talking about a drawing or a painting or setting something up in the garden, I would really stress that don't get too attached to an idea if it isn't working out. We can force something to work so hard because of the amount of effort and time we put into it, and it doesn't really matter how much time and effort you put into it. If it's not working out, it's never going to work out, and you're going to drive yourself crazy trying to fit it into what you want it to be. I once had an art teacher tell me if you drew it once, then you can draw it twice. Meaning, just start over, try again. It's gonna be okay. As you can see, I threw some leaves down hoping to suck up some of the extra water, but my backyard actually will flood in the spring in certain areas. I'm fairly certain the town was built on a filled-in wetland. So, sorry about that. I didn't build the town. Yeah, can you hear it? It's just like... These were some tomatoes and peppers from last year. I really poorly organized this area, but now that I've been in this space for a year with these garden beds, we're a year wiser. And that's all you can really do. This is my pea trellis that actually did extremely well last year. I made it from old branches from when we cut down a tree in the yard. I thought that'd be like a cute craft, and it ended up being a massive pain in the ass. I'm happy with the results now that I have it, but I wouldn't recommend it as like a fun weekend project. It was a huge, just the biggest pain in the ass. Here is my little cucumber. This is like a little cucumber, I like to leave all this foliage and all the dead plants from last year in here just so they can decompose and give back to the soil, because when you grow vegetables, you're taking the nutrients out of it to create the vegetables and the flowers. So you always got to put back in. I think that's something that it took me a while to wrap my head around, is just the tending to the soil part, and then the soil will take care of the rest. But the cucumbers, that the species variety that I had, did extremely well, and it took over this whole area, and it even like grew over to the strawberries and started taking over the trellis. It loves the fence for whatever reason. It's just the perfect amount of spacing. This bed last year I tried to grow beets and spinach and cherry tomatoes in it. The spinach did good. The beets they did terrible. And the cherry tomatoes, they tasted like the cherry tomatoes from the grocery store. So there's nothing spectacular about growing cherry tomatoes. I don't know what I'm gonna put in this one this year. We'll figure it out. Maybe peppers, just because this is the shady area, but this definitely gets the most sun out of the shady area. Once summertime rolls around, it'll get full sun. So this will probably end up being a pepper box instead of cherry tomatoes. So these beds are closer to the street, so you're going to hear more street action. Sorry. These are trellises I made this year. This is where I grow a lot of beans and peas. They did pretty well. It's a shady area, so I'm pretty limited to what I can do. The nice thing about once these trellises have beans growing on them is that it hides the trash cans from the view. The trash cans are killing my curbside appeal. So I'm definitely going to be planting the first batch of peas. I'll start with this one, and then a couple weeks from now I'm going to plant this one, and a couple weeks later I'm going to plant this one. And then this area is going to be where the bush beans are going to be. They don't need trellises, they'll just take over this area. And this is the garlic bed. I planted this in the, I have this mesh on it to keep the squirrels out. I planted the garlic in the spring and the fall. And I've never done an overwinter crop before, so we'll see how it goes. I'm kind of nervous about this one. But you can see a little shoots. I got 1, I got 2, 3, 4. So I'll at least have 4 garlics. I already remineralized this one because it already had stuff planted in it, and I have the sea compost over it. And I see another one coming up. I'm just nervous about it because it's my first time doing it. But I keep them covered just because the squirrels are my sworn enemy. And these were a variety of basil called lime basil. And they did so well last year. I exceeded my expectations. I grew them from seed, and they just thrived. Like I had I had 4 big bushes of it. I wish I grew just like a traditional species of basil also, just because if I wanted to do like a tomato caprese, the lime basil just kind of offset the flavor profile that you'd be going for in a dish like that. But it was just such a beautiful plant. I would actually pick bouquets of it and put it in the house, and I was kind of curious to see if they would survive over the winter, but it is like a Asian variety, a tropical Asian variety too, so what do we got here? Probably just a weed, yeah. Yeah, that's just dead. I actually transplanted them into this bed last year. See, this was another bed that I didn't really utilize the space because I just didn't. You just don't know, and the only way you know is by just trying and learning from trial and error. You can read up on stuff and plan out, but at the end of the day, you just have to try. I had some cucumbers in here. You can see I have some little cucumber residue mold going on. And these cucumbers were just like Terminators. I'm interested in seeing if like they'll self-plant themselves. We just had so many cucumbers last year. I had to stop pickling them, and ooh, what's this? Some duty? Little animal duty? Yeah. Cool. Never know what you're gonna find out here. Let's go over here. I think we got another rotting cucumber. That's exciting. I think I had some wildflowers in here too, just to attract some pollinators. What is this? Ugh. Ugh. It's like ugh. Yeah, there was some parsley in here. Let's clear it off. Oh yeah, look at this. We got some parsley. This bed got like frozen like a brick though. I don't really expect it. Yeah, see, it's still frozen right here. I don't really expect. Oh, we got a little. What is this little turd? That's right, we're touching turds. Little bunny poop in here. I almost wonder if there's. Oh, see, there's still some ice. I can't remineralize a lot of these beds yet, but that's okay. So in this bed, I tried planting corn last year because it used to be a very sunny spot, but then we put the shed up and it became a shady bed, which, you know, that just happens, and I didn't put the 2 and 2 together that the shed would affect the sun pattern. Nobody knew though. Let's see what we got in here. When the corn didn't work out, I just kind of tore it down and ended up putting some parsley and some thyme and rosemary. But as you can see, I put parsley everywhere just because it's the most commonly used kitchen herb that I'll use. But this is frozen, but you can see the green. Let's take a look at. Are you guys just on the edge of your seat like I am? See, this oregano held up really well. I can smell it just by unearthing it. See, look at this. This is awesome. Isn't nature incredible? See this? He's been doing, sorry. He's been doing good. And this is a really nice oregano. I believe it's a Greek oregano variety. What's the difference between like Greek oregano and Italian? I don't know. But yeah, look, you see this beautiful, and this survived, oh yes, yes. See, look, it survived a winter like this. If that doesn't wow you, I don't know who you are. I've just been keeping it covered because I know we still have a couple frosts to go. So this makes me very happy. Just beautiful. I'll cover it back up, or I'll let it get a little sun today. And then I don't think I have anything else in this bed that would have survived. Oh look. Oh. This is some thyme. I believe it's just a standard. Let's get down in here. Yeah, you can. This is thyme. Yeah, if I can get it to focus. And this is a rosemary, and I'm under the impression rosemary is supposed to be cold hardy, but it gets so cold you really can't blame the plant. Here's the rosemary. See, when you snap it, it's just got a dry inside. Maybe it'll come up. We'll see. And then over here, you got... Wait a minute. What's that? It's out of focus. Oh, nice. That's Colby Spot. Then back here, these are logs. I'm going to say this wrong. Indoctrinated, like you indoctrinate like a college professor, right? I don't know what to call it. But these are supposed to be shiitake mushroom logs. This is the most experimenty thing we did last year. I'm still gonna see, you can see the holes that we drilled all over these logs. And then we filled them up with shiitake mycelium that I ordered online. But it's just kind of a, we'll see how it goes. I've talked to some people that have tried it and it didn't work out. But you see these little dudes right here, they look pretty good. Or it could just be like standard tree mold. But they look, in my brain, I just want them to be shiitake so bad. But we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. This was a decorative grass variety called King Tut. If a label has something that suggests it's Egyptian related, I will be a sucker and buy it. I'm really just looking to recreate some sort of exotic Nile paradise in southern Ontario, of course. But it's not actually like an Egyptian species variety. It's just kind of a decorative grass that mimics the reeds you would see in Egyptian paintings, where it has this extremely long stalk here, and then these, it's not like a palm frond, but it's like a grass, and it looks a lot like the papyrus from Egyptian paintings. It's really beautiful. This one did extremely well in this area. I was curious to see if it would survive the winter, but it didn't. So I'm just going to end up pulling this out. And this worked well for the first year of having the garden beds and then having just kind of this open ground space right here. But I believe I'm going to be planting corn in this area this year. So I'm very excited to see how that'll go. So I wonder if you can see what's going on in here. But I actually had a strawberry plant survive the winter, which I was pretty surprised about. I kind of wonder. See, this chicken wire I made, I attempted to keep the birds out. It turns out this stuff is a huge pain in the ass to work with. There it is. So it didn't really, I'll pull back and I can, it's very ugly. Yeah, you can kind of see that it's just like the worst box. But I actually did end up getting some strawberries out of it. I'm talking very softly because I don't want my neighbors to hear me talking to nobody in my backyard. They already think I'm strange. We're just trying to keep up appearances. Good. So as you can see, this area is pretty dug up. It's because I must have had a rabbit digging up in the bed looking to build a nest, but I don't think that they're actually gonna end up making anything in here. But God, they did a pretty good dig, huh? If they did, oh gosh. I think they've actually been digging it even deeper. There's nothing in here, so I'm not fucking with anything. Ooh, there's an earthworm. God. See, look at this. See how deep they did it? You know, this is... Let me see if I can pull back. I don't think they're actually going to end up having any babies in here just because I have the dog in the yard all the time and I'm always poking around, but I know this is technically considered a pest to have them messing around in your garden bed like this, but I actually think it's kind of the fun. Yeah, it was a lot shallower yesterday, but this is kind of the fun of having a yard space, is just seeing the way nature interacts with it. And then I've got this little space right here. This looks like a, it just kind of stops right there. It's like a little vole.